everyone, it's Max, and today I am here with my June and July TBR. Now, the reason why I am doing these as a 2-in-1 is because for parts of June and July, I am going to be out of the country. I am going to Egypt with my dad, and we are going scuba diving, and we're gonna go see Cairo, and all that good stuff. And so I'm not sure exactly when I will be reading some of these books. I just know that it will be happening in June and July. So I am going to do this in a slightly different way. I'm going to do it kind of in groups, one of which is going to be my auto reads of the month, one of them is going to be my arcs, and then the rest are going to be what I'm going to take on my trip. The first books I'm going to talk about are the next two books in the October Days series, and honestly, I just bought them today and I cannot remember what they're called, but I'm going to hold this up and just talk about the October Days series. This is a series about a woman named October Day. She is a half-fae, and at the beginning of the first book, she is turned into a fish for 15 years. And so then all of a sudden the curse wears off and she wakes up, it's 15 years later, and she is trying to figure out kind of what her life is now. And that includes becoming a PI for like the head of her fairy duchy and trying to get back on good relationships with like her daughter, who thinks she's just been missing for 15 years. And I am loving this series. I just finished this book today, actually, and wow, it was amazing. I think I'm giving, well, spoiler alert, well, I guess actually, I can't remember if my May wrap-up is coming out before this. Probably not, but spoiler alert, 4.5 out of 5 stars, so good. The series, honestly, pretty much just keeps getting better and better. I am so excited to see what happens next, and there was a little bit of a love triangle, but she is going towards the guy I want her to be with, and I am so pumped about that. The next book I'm going to talk about is the last Tamora Pierce book that I have to read for the Tortle Chronicles, and this is Tempest and Slaughter. This follows Numair, who is one of the main characters of the Wild Magic series, but he has been a main supporting character in multiple series. And this follows him when he is younger and at school, and he is one of the best wizards like ever, and he is very good at what he does, and this tells kind of his origin story. There is going to be, I believe, a second book at some point. I just know it's not out, so this is it, which is so crazy to me. Like, I cannot believe I have read all of the Tortle universe books. It's just crazy. I can't believe it, but it also works out so well because I am starting a lot of new huge series that I'm going to do a video kind of like the the second half of the year and my plans for that. But it is nice that I'm going to be finishing the Tortle universe. It's taken 1.5 years, but here I am, and I just can't believe it's happening. I am sad, but also very happy and excited to see what's next. All right, the next thing that I'm going to go over, sorry, my angle changed. My leg is fully asleep, and I'm sitting on the floor. But the next section of books I'm going to go over are my arcs, and I'm basically going to go over just all of the arcs on my NetGalley shelf right now because they're all coming out soon. The first book is the next book by Silvia Moreno Garcia, and this is called The Return of the Sorceress. It is only like 100 pages or like around that. Like, it is so short, and honestly, I don't know what it's about. Most of these I'm not gonna really be able to give you a synopsis. I'm just excited about all of them, honestly. The next book is Sun-Kissed by Casey West. This is her next, you know, contemporary YA romance. We'll see how this goes. I DNF'd Casey West's last book, and honestly, the two before that I did not really enjoy. I loved her earlier work. I've not been into her more recent books. The next book is Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. I honestly have no idea what this one is about. I just saw Andy Weir, was really excited. I loved The Martian. I did not enjoy Artemis as much, but I definitely did still like it. So I am so excited for this third one. It just came out today, so like I'm definitely getting to it after it came out, but I'm really excited to pick it up. The next book is Rabbits by Terry Miles. I honestly, it says something about Josh Mallerman, so I thought it was by Josh Mallerman, so that's why I requested it. Then I realized it is not, but it's kind of, I think, a virtual reality that has to do with rabbits, and honestly, I'm a little nervous because I hated Ready Player One, and I do not like virtual reality books. So we'll see how this one goes, because I don't think it's gonna work out too well. Okay, it's an underground game and has to do with like a podcast, which I also don't love. We'll see how this goes. Next book is Goblin by Josh Malerman. This one I'm excited about. I know it is a story that is told in like 6 short stories. I loved The House at the Bottom of the Lake by Josh Malerman. Bird Box was okay. And then I did not read Mallory, but I am excited about Goblin because I'm intrigued by him as an author. And then the last arc that I have is Sorrowland by River Solomon. And this is about a woman who gets pregnant with twins, and I think she's kicked out of her village or she runs away. She has the twins and she starts undergoing a metamorphosis. Now, I don't know if this means like actual shape-shifting or like a symbolic metamorphosis, but I am intrigued. I have tried to read The Deep by River Solomon and I did not really enjoy it, so I am a little nervous going into this one, but we'll see. And now the rest are what I want to take on my trip. Now, there are a couple of things, right? So the first thing is that I've got 3 main trilogies that I really do want to read. And then I've got another trilogy for if I do finish all 3 of those. The first one I'm going to talk about is the last Harold Mage series by Mercedes Lackey. She-Thick. These are all very big. I'm probably being just extremely ambitious, like let's be honest here. But I think I'm honestly just gonna read the backs because I'm just like trying to remember what all of them are about is just like really hard for me. And so we're just gonna read the backs of like this compendium and then the first book in the rest of the series. This tells the story of Vaniel, a prosecuted and abused son of a Valdemaran noble, who finds acceptance at Haven when he is chosen by the companion Yfandes. This is really fun. Companions like Yfandes are magical horse-like beings with the power to communicate and bond with their chosen and trigger the potential for psychic abilities and magic. But Vaniel discovers other things about himself at Haven as well. He discovers love in an unexpected place and loses it and nearly his own life. When Yfanders and his aunt Harold Seville, he will travel to the home of the mysterious Hawk brothers in search of healing and training and will grow from a troubled and heartbroken trainee to become the most powerful Herald Mage in the history of Valdemar. And the one hope for Valdemar against an implacable foe based on eradicating magic from the kingdom entirely. We will see how this goes. I'm very excited. If you have seen my April wrap-up or my May TBR, you will know that I've got a few, I've read a couple Mercedes Lackey. Right now, actually, when I'm filming this, I've read one, and I enjoyed it. It does have a little bit of that dry, classic fantasy writing, but we shall see. That might be because, honestly, the main character is a little dry, but we'll see. I am excited. It's 3 books in one. I'm not going to read, like, all of these and then the next trilogy and then the next. I'm going to separate them out. But then the last series I'm going to talk about, it would be one right after the other. The next series I want to talk about is Terry Goodkind's The Sword of Truth series, starting with these 3. And now I am not going to talk about like my plans for the future for these series because I do have plans, but that is going to be a whole separate video. So the first book is Wizard's First Rule, then Stone of Tears, and then Blood of the Fold. I am very excited. I have heard nothing but great things about this series, honestly. It is definitely one of those iconic, classic fantasies. And so again, I'm just going to read the back. A legend begins. In the aftermath of the brutal murder of his father, Richard Cypher encounters a mysterious woman, Callan Amnil, in his forest sanctuary. She seeks his help and more. His world, his very beliefs are shattered when ancient debts come due with thundering violence. In their darkest hour, Colin calls upon Richard to reach beyond his sword, to invoke within himself something more noble. Neither knows that the rules of battle have just changed or that their time has run out. This is the beginning, one book, one rule: witness the birth of a legend. Ooh, how fun. They are big. Like this one is, I want to say, yeah, it's like 800 something pages. The second book is, I believe, over 1,000. Just under 1,000. And the third book is like 600 and something pages. So big. I think I'm going to start with this on like our flights and like layovers and stuff because they're so big. And all I can go off of is, so what we're doing is we're flying, obviously, we're staying on land a little bit, and we're also spending a whole week on a scuba diving boat. And so I just remember we did one of those in Australia, and I was not reading a lot. I was exhausted a lot of the time, and it's not that the boat didn't make me seasick, actually. I just like, I was either hanging out with people or sleeping or eating or scuba diving, because we scuba dived so much on the boat. So we'll see how this goes, but I think I want to save some more of the shorter books for that. And then the last series that I really, really want to get to is The Blade itself by Joe Abercrombie. I am very excited. I got this like how to read his like this huge series, and it started with some short stories, so I read them, and I'm really enjoying his writing, so I'm really excited to pick this series up. I got this trilogy from my stepsister for my birthday, and I'm finally getting to it and so excited about it. But the first book is The Blade itself, and let me read the back. Oh great, it's just a bunch of quotes. I know it follows a few characters, one of which, or maybe a couple of which, we have met in the short stories, which would make sense. And I'm just really excited. There's war, there's blood, there's, you know, political strife, I'm sure, and just really excited. See, this one isn't even 500 pages, it's 497. So this I'd feel a lot more comfortable with like reading on the boat. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see how this goes, honestly. But really excited for this series as well. And then excited also for what like reading these series means for like my overall plans for the foreseeable future, especially Mercedes Lackey. Speaking of Mercedes Lackey, the last series I'm going to talk about is the Complete Arrows trilogy. Now, when I first got these, I usually like to read huge series in chronological order. Not of publication, but of like when it happened. But when I found this Reddit like link that talked about what someone recommended, and they recommended starting with this one, but then I found on Goodreads it showed it in like chronological order, and I'd rather do it that way, hence why I'm gonna read this one first. But I know this follows like someone who becomes like legendary in her overall series, but I'm just gonna read it. And this is her debut trilogy, which is crazy to me. It tells the story of Talia, a daughter of the repressive Holder folk, who is chosen by the immortal companion Roland to become one of the legendary heralds of Valdemar. Companions like Roland are mystical, horse-like beings with powers beyond imagining, including the power to sense an awakening potential for special talent in the mind in certain young men and women like Talia. With Roland's help, Talia will learn to master her unique mental abilities of telepathy and empathy, and will grow from an uncertain and inexperienced herald trainee to become the most important herald of all, the Queen's own. And together, Talia and Roland will fight to protect the Queen, the heir to the throne, and the entire kingdom from dangerous conspiracies, looming unrest, vicious treachery, and even an evil and ancient sorcery beyond the magic of the heralds themselves. This is the trilogy that if I get to it, I will be reading them just one right after the other because I'm going to be, you know, away. So I'm going to be in another country that English is not their primary language. So who knows, finding books there might be difficult. I don't think that's going to be a problem though. Like, holy cow, are these big books. So we'll see how this goes. I really, really do want to get to the First Law trilogy, the Wizard's First Rule trilogy, and the last Herald Mage trilogy. Those are the main ones that I want to get to because I've like planned out my life for basically the next year and a little bit. The only one that I plan to not read is this one. So if I do read this, then that's just a bonus. I am planning on turning the Mercedes Lackey books into like How I Did with Tamora Pierce, with them being like my audiobook each month. But that will be after I finish these 2 trilogies because I own them. So yeah. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you soon with another video.